McCollum Wellness Radio. In my life, there came a time when I had to make a choice. You know, the things just weren't right. I looked around for someone else to blame. I searched and I searched and I reached down inside. And I knew when I found there's a light I can hide. I can be free, I can be free. I can rise above, I can be free, I can be free. I will rise above.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum coming to you live from KSCO radio station in the heart of Santa Cruz. And, it's a great day to be free in this incredible country that we live in. I think a lot of us are shackled by our own short givings and our own thought processes. And, I think that we have the ability to be so much more than we are right now. And, some of us are comfortable where we are. Others feel frustrated. The last couple of years have left us, many of us, in different degrees of the shambles from the worst to, just not living the life that we think we could. Our health has been dramatically affected by the stress that we've been under over the last couple of years. A lot of people who have been afflicted with various things are telling me that they're tired. And, one of the things that I know is when you are functioning and you're producing stuff, you're going to be a lot happier. The moral to, happiness is to serve others. Basically, that's that book that I talked about that one of my listeners commented on in my office the other day, the Road to Success. It's a 1-page book with one word on it, says to serve. But, I think that if we all just tried to help each other a little bit more, it'd be a better world. I want to talk about how to help you become more able and more capable this hour. And I thought I would do that by kind of going through what would happen if you were a new patient coming into my office, because, what we're trying to do is really make you more able. And so many people have had chronic diseases that are holding them back for a long time, or new injuries, old injuries. They're limited themselves. One of the things I really don't like to hear is, well, I used to play golf, but I just know I can't play anymore, or I don't play tennis anymore. And the sad part of it, a lot of people are happy, I should say, resolved to the fact that that's their lot in life from this point forward. And it's not necessarily the case. So much can be done to turn your life around if you just decide to do it. The body is amazing. It has an amazing ability to heal. The greatest physician who ever lived lives right inside of you. That's your innate intelligence. We address the interference in your body 2 ways in our office. Number 1 is with chiropractic. Well, 3 ways, really. Number 1 is chiropractic, the nervous system. The nerves, the nervous system is when an egg and sperm come together, it's one cell. Soon it's in 8 days, it's 8 cells that look like a bunch of frog eggs in a pond. By day 16, you see a bulb with a stick on it. And that bulb is the brain and the stick is the central nervous system. And shortly after that, you start to see these little hairs come off of it. In fact, 31 pairs of nerves coming off of the central nervous system. Those pairs of nerves split and split and split, and then little buds grow on them that are going to become your organs. They're going to become your fingers, your glands, your extremities, your everything, your hands, feet, heart, lungs, kidneys, livers, gizzards, the whole works. So this is such an amazing thing, and chiropractic really works to first locate and then reduce or eliminate, if possible, nerve interference where accidents and injuries and different disease has caused pressure on the nerves. One of those 31 pairs of spinal nerves that go to a plethora of cells in the body. And we do that, that's called a subluxation. We do that through a very thorough examination and consultation, usually x-rays, to find out how long it's been there, which helps us predict what it would take and give us a really good prediction on, what your recovery could be, how far it could be, and, how long it will take, and potentially how much it will cost. So that's chiropractic. Now, you've heard me talk about the stem cell machine. Last week, I did a big show on it, and it works on a cellular level. So not only are we reducing interference at a much larger nervous system level, but with the stem cell machine, or the TRT, tissue regenerative therapy machine, we're working at a cellular level to help those cells that are no longer functioning. When we use them on a certain area, it will help break down those cells that should have gone away a long time ago, and then bring in new cells. The stem cells will move into the area, something called exosomes, which are little teeny workers inside the cells, come and they recognize what needs to be, and they send signals through the bloodstream to our innate intelligence, and that innate intelligence will then create whatever needs to be done to get us healthy. Now, there's one other issue here, two more really. The other one is chemistry. What's going on in the chemistry of your body? Have you been exposed to toxins? I had a gentleman come in the other day who's a pipe fitter. He's retired now, but he's an elderly fellow who looks great, but inside he's not doing so well. He grew up in the coal mines area, and he's got these health issues that go back all the way back to him growing up. And not only is it that environmental, but if his family generations grew up in that area, he gets those toxins and heavy metals 4 generations down through the family line, through the mother's umbilical blood. And so then we're exposed to things like glyphosate and, which is Roundup, and all of the other toxins that have been produced, 87,000 different chemical compounds made since in the last 150, 200 years, that our bodies have to figure out how to either store in fat cells and keep them away from our nervous system, or eliminate them. And the liver is the liver should win the Nobel Prize, because it has to break down those chemicals that might have taken years to manufacture in a lab. And when they get in our body, the liver has to get rid of them in a nanosecond or they kill us. So those are the 3 different levels so far. The macro environment of the nervous system through chiropractic, the cellular level of interference with this tissue regenerative technology machine, or the stem wave machine, and then chemically, what's going on? Is your body able to eliminate the toxins you've been exposed to? I had been exposed to so much mercury as a kid, and I had terrible dyslexia. And I won't go into my whole story again. You've heard it probably several times. And then the 4th one is really your attitude. If you don't think you can get well, you're not going to get well. But if you believe that what you think about, you talk about, you bring about, and that your body has innate intelligence and it can get well, then you have a better chance. And you don't even have to take my word for it. I mean, you can go out and look around, take a walk today and find a weed growing between two cracks of cement. And, it's probably been pulled up 18 times and the roots are still there, and the weed continues to exist. This desire to thrive is so huge that it almost can't be squelched. And now we have so many tools in our quiver. We have so many tools that we can use to help resolve the problems that are affecting our health. And I'm going to kind of go through some of that in a minute. We'll take a commercial break in a couple minutes, and then I'll come back and kind of go through what would happen and what we look for. But again, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum. You can find me at Dr. Duncan McCollum on YouTube. I would love it if you would go follow me on YouTube. Most of my shows are up there in video form. You can go to Health Rebels on Facebook. You can follow Duncan McCollum on Facebook. And you can hear my podcasts on McCollum Wellness Radio. Those podcasts, you just go to Spotify or whatever one, wherever you want to go, and they're there. So you can copy that and send it to a friend that he needs to hear this information. Somebody who may be, kind of down on their health, not thinking that there's a way for them to become healthy again. And, it all starts because somebody cared enough to share something that would turn their life around. And, if it's to be, it's up to me. If it's to be, it's up to you. So if this is something that you like this show, then support KSCO for sure. You can support me by just following me on those things, especially YouTube. And you can also go to my website, McCollumFamilyChiropractic.com, and get information about my office there. So we're going to go ahead and take a commercial break right now, and then I'll be back to go into the heart of what I was talking about. We'll see you in a second.
This is Dr. Duncan McCollum here, and I have Pastor Mark with me. He came in and experienced the stem cell machine, the TRT machine, and he wanted to just go ahead and tell you a little bit of his experience. Yeah, I injured my knee years ago from sports and being dumb, and after the first stem cell treatment, after the very first one, I could do a full knee squat, and doctors told me that we want to replace your knee, and my knee would just ache just from sitting, and you probably experienced that if you have knee problems, but now, no ache, I can walk without pain. And when I sit, I have no pain. And I just love it. I'd recommend it to anybody. It's terrific. When we looked at your x-rays, your discs and your knees look pretty good, too. Yeah, they're improving so much. I just love it. I can't wait for my treatment every week. Highly recommend it to anyone. So you'd recommend they do the $49 special to see if it will work for them? Oh, absolutely. That's what drew me in with the $49 special. I thought, I got $50 to spend to just see, and it certainly has paid off. Call 831-459-9990. Thanks.
Hi, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum, and I have this amazing patient, Gayleen, here, who walked into our office, barely walked into our office.
Hardly able to walk and bent over. And within 3 visits, I was standing up straight, walking. I couldn't believe it. That's never happened to me before. It's been a very rough road, but we're getting there, and I'm very grateful.
And you had 2 back surgeries as well, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah, in 1995. Yeah.
And so they didn't really solve your problem.
No, they didn't.
And you came in, we did some stem cell treatments on you and some chiropractic on you, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So you're happy.
I'm happy. Everyone here is just awesome. They're all here to help you. They're all so sweet.
You should listen to Gayleen, see if we can help your health.
That's right. Anyone that needs help, please come in.
Thank you.
You will see it will make a better road. You search and you reach down inside.
Okay, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum. I'm back. I love listening to those 2. I saw Gayleen just the other day. She's doing great. She's on a maintenance program. after all those years of pain, no need to go backwards. I think that's one thing that we really have to understand. It just like a car needs maintenance, your teeth need maintenance, your house needs maintenance, your nervous system needs maintenance, and your organs need maintenance because of all the toxins here. So it only makes sense to get your body healthy and keep it that way. So again, just to start, when we started the show, we talked about the subluxation, which is a pressure on the nerve, one of the 31 pairs of spinal nerves that X's the spine. And that subluxation can interfere with the communication to the 75 trillion cells in our body. Then we look at each cell on an individual basis, and that's where the TRT machine can help, because it will help break down bad cells and make a nice pathway for the new cells to come in and replace them, so we can remodel the damaged area. It's the stem cells are kind of like a chameleon. They can change. Chameleons change color wherever they are. Stem cells, they get in there and they decide, they just know what to be. They'll be whatever's needed to be done, and they lay down, and then a new matrix or a remodel is set. It's kind of like having a garden. First thing you do is till the soil. That's an inflammatory response in this model. Then you plant the seeds. That would be the proliferation of stem cells into the area, the seed planting. And then you grow the garden, and that would be the remodeling or the rebuilding of the old tissue anew, with the exosomes and stem cells that have been laid down there. So there's that. Then we need to look at what kind of chemical toxicity is causing chronic inflammation, autoimmune disease, genetic diseases turning on because bad cells have the genes get turned on because of toxins inside the cell. And then, of course, your attitude or your knowledge. I think it's not just attitude. If you have the right knowledge and you understand enough of how a body can heal, you can eliminate things that would cause your body to heal, cause your body not to heal. For instance, a lot of times people still are eating a lot of grains that are inflammatory to them. They affect different people different ways. But that's a whole nother subject for another day. So let's say you walked into my office and you heard about us from a referral. We're really a referral-based practice. Most people, once they get great results, they refer their family and friends in. But oftentimes we get people coming in from KSCO radio, and I really appreciate you for coming in and giving us a chance to see what we can do to help you. But let's say you came in with chronic low back pain. Let's say you had a new injury of your low back. So what I might do is of course, my staff would give you an amazing greeting, have you fill out any paperwork that's remaining. We usually do most of it on the phone to save you time before you get to the office. We would give you an introduction to the office, fill out any remaining paperwork. You usually meet the doc before you go back to the consultation room. And once in the consultation room, we give you a little orientation to what we're going to be looking for. And if I come in, when I come in, I'll say, so Joe, I see that you've got low back pain. How long have you had it? Well, I've had it for about 3 days. I was working in the garage. I felt something pop, and I was unable to move for a couple of those days. And now I'm feeling a little better, but it's not going away. In fact, it's shooting down my leg now. And Joe's 50 years old. He's worked construction his whole life. And, younger days of construction, he was the guy that carried all the heavy wood and stuff like that. So I'd say, Joe, so tell me about this injury. What were you doing when it came on? Actually, it was at the end of the day, and I was getting out of the car and I was lifting a bag of groceries out of the back seat. Barely moved at all. You'd just been doing heavy labor all day, or sitting in a chair at work all day under tons of stress, whatever that your life is. And so that would be the onset. And I'm going to say, well, what brought it on? And you're going to tell me that, the episode that started now. Or it might be that I've had this pain for 30 years and it's never gone away. and I've been taking medication for it, and I'm just tired of taking the medication. I don't really enjoy my life. I'm, I don't really have any activities because I can't even garden without my back hurting anymore. And I've been on different pain meds, and I don't like it. And I'm not telling anybody to get off any medication here at all. I'm just kind of going through some of the things we hear at the office. So I would ask the patient, well, tell me, we for sure we don't accept all patients in this office. I want to let you know that, but I do want to find out if you're in the right place and what type of service here would be the best for you if we think we can help you. And I would ask, are you just interested in trying to mitigate the pain, reduce it, or do you want to try to get as healthy as you can? And based on that response, I'll go down a list of questions. So if we're talking to Joe with his low back pain, I'm going to ask him, well, describe the pain for me. Is it burning, stabbing, shooting? Is it just a throbbing like a toothache pain? And then rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, how severe it is. Mild would be like a 1 or 2, slight would be 3 to 4, moderate pain would be 5 to 7, and then severe 8 to 10. And that's going to help me understand whether or not there's something I'm going to try to do that day to get them more comfortable. Or if it's something that's been around for a long time, I might want to do a really, I'm going to do a real thorough evaluation anyway, but knowing that I might have time to study all of my findings before I decide whether we can help them or not in my office. So I'm going to look for the quality of pain and then find out if it's, seldom, like 10% of the time, or occasional 25% of the time. Is it in the morning, in the evening? Intermittent would be 50% of the time, frequent 75% of the time, and then constant would be 100% of the time. These are all things that you'd be surprised how people are functioning with chronic pain 100% of the time. And I had that when I had broken my back as a kid. And for, let's see, from 12 to about 24, 25, I had pretty much always had some degree of pain, from severe to occasionally mild if I was lucky. So I'll look at severity. I'll see if it radiates somewhere. And, does it go down the leg? Does it go around to the gut? If it's in my neck, does it go down into my shoulders, my hands, my fingers get numb? Do I have pain in the muscles of my extremity? How about the chest? Do I have some problems in that area? And then, severity, radiation, and timing. We just went over that. It's really important for me to find out if they've had surgeries. Tell me about any surgeries you've had, even if it goes back 20, 30 years. I need to know. Is it like I ruptured my appendix, so I have had surgeries. If they had anything along that line, oftentimes scar tissue, which will always form when you have a surgery because it's basically an insult to the body, or a violation of the body. There's going to be scar tissue, which is going to be less mobile, less pliable, and it can affect how quickly somebody can heal. How many times have they re-injured the same area? That's going to affect how things heal. Have they been in the hospital, and for what? What kind of things have they been in the hospital for? What have they done to handle those reasons? Are they on medications for that? And you can maybe go through this as though you're Joe right now and just kind of look and say, my problems, boy, I've never had people ask all these questions. Maybe I need to dig deeper and to find out what's going on so that I can get well quicker. Hey, Scott, and Denise. Hospitalization, any childhood illnesses. Oftentimes people have had these childhood illnesses that have weakened different parts of their body, their nervous system, their immune system. Most children right now have been on 17 antibiotics by the time they're 17 courses of antibiotics, which we know destroys the microbiome in our gut. In fact, this gentleman I was talking to the other day who grew up in the coal burning part of the country, said that he was on penicillin almost every year of his life because of the lungs that were weak from the coal dust that he would have to breathe growing up. And that penicillin affects the microbiome. It affects your digestive system. It affects your ability to heal. Your own immune system and everything is affected by it. So what kind of adult or childhood diseases have they had? A lot of people come in telling me that they were struck by what's been called COVID or a flu, and they've had a hard time recovering from it. Maybe they have food allergies. Potentially they have autoimmune disease at this point. We need to dig into that and explain this is your body fighting itself because it doesn't know where the problem is. So it thinks the only way to fix itself is to destroy itself, which is a real crazy computation for a body to make. We also want to look at traumas. A lot of times, both men and women or young men and young women come into my office and they've got, low back pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, this and that. And they haven't done anything in the last 2 to 3 days to bring it on. But I find out that they played volleyball in high school, or they were track or gymnasts, or played sports like football, contact sports, soccer, this kind of thing. And those little itty bitty or major injuries that they suffered way back then, and especially people in my generation, which is in the 7th decade or 6th decade, whatever it is, they didn't know how to look out for injuries back then. So we really need to look at the traumas and find out, is the problem with your shoulder coming from your neck, or is it just the shoulder? And if they have a problem with their shoulder, the likelihood is they have something going on, shoulder and neck. The likelihood is they'd have potentially some thyroid problems, because the same nerve that goes to your shoulder and hands goes to your thyroid gland. It also goes to your lungs and your heart. So I had asthma as a kid. When I broke my back and I finally got to a chiropractor, my asthma went away because they were adjusting my upper back. Crazy. I didn't realize it at first. So if you're having any kind of allergies or blood-related issues, is your blood count high, low, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, liver issues from either chemicals or alcohol or drugs, how's your body draining its lymphatic system? Are you puffy, swollen? What kind of medications have you been on? And there's a lot of questions that we can ask about that. Does other people in your family have the same or similar things? And then, of course, we do want to know about medications, prescription and recreational. I took a lot of recreational drugs because of my pain as a kid, but then they became, more of a way of life. Alcohol, how much alcohol do you take? And or tobacco, because, coming off alcohol, if you're taking it on a chronic basis, can be very troubling. It can be difficult for you. And what other kind of doctors have they seen for this? Have they seen specialists? Have they had injections for the pain if it's a musculoskeletal thing? Are they taking different narcotic painkillers to try to mitigate the pain? My best definition of or explanation of the pain killing drugs is when thank you, Marcy, sleeping wrong. Absolutely. When I remember the first time I got Novocaine, I was probably 5 or 6 years old. And I started chewing on the inside of my cheek. I realized, wow, I can chew on my cheek and it doesn't even hurt. And I chewed it up. When the Novocaine wore off, I was in severe pain. So my caution to anybody on any kind of painkillers is to be aware of the fact that if your low back hurts or your shoulder, neck, hand, arm hurts, and you're working out, or your knee, whatever, and you're working out over it or working over it or ignoring it because now you don't feel it because of the pain blockers, then you have a chance of making a lot more problems there. You're damaging it a lot more. So we talk about that. And again, if they're prescription medications, I'm going to have you talk to your doctor about that. We're also what is your occupation and what occupations have you had throughout your life? Oftentimes, in fact, I had a guy a week or so ago that he was in construction most of his life. And when he came in, he was in his early 60s, and he said, yeah, I sit at a desk now. I don't have to do too much, but my back is pretty sore. It's been getting sore, for about 2 or 3 years now. And I go, so what's your occupation? Well, I do something that I forget exactly what he did, but he worked on a computer at his desk. Huh. If I would have left it at that, that would have not given me enough information. I go, what other type of occupations have you had? Well, I wrestled in high school, by the way, and but I also was in the construction business. And well, did you ever get hurt wrestling? Well, I had a couple pointers or stingers that they call them in my hip, and that's interesting. It's my right hip that's giving me the most trouble now that you think about it. All right. And how about in construction? Did you ever have any issues? Well, I fell off a roof once, but not too far, and I landed on my feet and fell over onto my left side. And so this goes on and on and on. People forget all this stuff. So occupation is important. Have they been exposed to chemicals on the job? Especially gardeners that are using glyphosate and other chemical things. Are you a welder where you're exposed to the copper gas, or various other gases? So all of these things get into the body. If the body's working really well, it's going to eliminate all the toxins, and it's going to free up any nerve interference whenever it happens, and you're going to live to be 100 years old, happy and healthy. So also, how about your intimacy? Is this affecting your intimacy? A lot of people, both women and men, don't want to talk about it, but when I bring it up, oftentimes I can see in their face, yeah, this is affecting it. Especially any issues with your low back, because the 5 lumbar vertebrae have the nerves coming out of it down into your sacrum, which is your tailbone, and then the coccyx below that. Those nerves not only go to your low back muscles, they go into your hips, down your legs, past the knees to the feet. They transmit hot and cold, vibration, limb position, muscle strength, and pain up and down the extremities, and coordination. But they also go to the large intestine, the bladder, and the reproductive area. So oftentimes when somebody has low back pain, they might have urinary frequency, or the opposite. They may end up having digestive difficulties, diarrhea, constipation, back and forth, and the intimacy problems one way or another. So if you don't ask those questions, if you haven't been asked those questions, somebody's not taken a deep enough dive into potentially what can be done, and looking for clues. These type of things leave clues, and so you really want to find out what these are. Now, some people that have smoked, I smoked in high school. I smoked for about 15 years of my life. And so that's important to know, because that will damage the lungs. It has some long-lasting effects. It also does cause addiction to nicotine, various other things. What kind of drugs did you take? And street drugs. And of course, we talked about medications, and not to get off any medications your doctors have given you. Maybe the ones that the White Rabbit and Grace Slick recommended on the song White Rabbit with Jefferson Airplane. But and then what kind of diets have you tried? One of the biggest problems with diets in our country is people get on one diet and think that they need to stick to that diet. It's really the worst thing that you can do. So we're going to take our second break here. I'll come back and finish this up, and then talk about what you might want to do to get your body healthier. So we'll see you back in just a couple seconds. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum, and I would like you to listen to a couple testimonials from my patients about our new TRT machine. You should come try it, but here's what they have to say.
A year and 2 months ago, I got knocked down by a horse, and I got a grade 2 pull on my hamstring, and from there everything went to hell. I was walking 3.5 miles a day, and went from that to walking less and less because it was so painful, and my other knee started hurting me. And then I stepped off a ladder and jammed my knee. It took me the next morning 5 minutes by the time I stood up to get out of my bedroom. It was so painful. At the same time, I found out about the TRT from the doc, and I knew that that was for me. So almost feeling completely normal. So it's been great. I was walking stiff-kneed on one side because it was just flopping out of place. Now I can bend my knee and walk. I totally recommend this one time, and you'll just go, whoa.
You don't realize how much you use your toes for balance until there's no feeling in them. And so I've got the feeling back in my toes, and my balance is greatly improved. Definitely recommend it.
So call today for your $49 introductory special on the TRT machine to see if it works for you. Call 831-459-9990. 831-459-9990. McCollum Family Chiropractic. Hey, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum, and I have this amazing patient, Lauren, here, and she had a few things to say.
Hi, I'm Lauren Spencer, a local realtor, and I've been seeing Duncan for years now. I had a biking accident, and he's been adjusting me since then, and it's been amazing. But lately, I've had trouble with my feet, and I'm an avid walker, avid biker, avid golfer, and my feet were aching all the time. And I tried Duncan's TRT machine, which is an amazing stem cell machine that rejuvenates the cells, and my feet, I've had like 3 or 4 sessions with the machine, and my feet are like new, no aches, no pains. It's a miracle. So I really highly recommend Duncan and his chiropractic services, but also that TRT machine. You got to try it. Thanks.
Wow, thanks, Lauren. That was awesome. So we still have the $49 special. Come on in and see if it works for you. Thank you.
You can be free. You can be free. You can rise above. You can be free.
Hey everybody, Duncan McCollum, Dr. Duncan McCollum, McCollum Family Chiropractic back. That song, You Can Be Free by Steve Funderburg, sung by 8-time Grammy Award winner Tony Lindsay. You can find that by looking up Steve Funderburg anywhere that you find podcasts or music, and you'll find he's got a lot of great songs up there. So he's one of my best friends. Great song, and I really appreciate him letting us use it. So we're talking about health and, you know, getting a real clear understanding of the different causes of your health issues and what's stopping your body from healing. And maybe you get the idea that you have to dig pretty deep, or you can do palliative care, which means cover up the symptoms or try to keep them at bay with either medications or just an occasional adjustment. Even with what we're finding with the stem cell machine, and this is such a new thing, there's several of us doctors that work together. I have about 30 friends around the country, maybe more now, that have them. And we are always consulting together about better ways to use them. And what we find is once you get an area healthy, then you should do a maintenance on it like you would anything to maintain the integrity of the joint and the ligaments and tendons and the cartilage that we've been improving with this stem cell machine. At any rate, before the break, we were talking about diet. So it's important that I find out, well, what is their typical diet? Are they drinking any water? You should drink 1/2 of your body weight in ounces of water a day. So if you weigh 160 pounds, you should drink 8 glasses of water. And if you're overweight, drink another glass for every 10 pounds overweight. And that way your body has a chance to flush itself, just like a radiator flushes itself. Diets, there's so many different ones out there, but the main thing is the body loves change. We grew up as a species through the seasons, and those seasons provided us different types of foods, and those foods were only available certain times of the year. And the bugs in our gut, the microbiome, the 100 trillion microbiome that actually eat our food for us and turn it into nutrients we can digest, they have gotten pretty messed up. That's a technical term, messed up. And we need to be able to get rid of the bad ones and cultivate new ones. And I'm going to do a show somewhere down the road about how we can do that with different type of fermented foods. But you know, the intermittent fasting is great. The ketogenic diet is good. The Mediterranean diet, the paleo diet, all these are good, but you got to rotate through them. You don't want to stick with just one because you will create nutritional deficiencies and or burn muscle mass, your own muscle mass, if you're not careful. And so if you like to read, I have 2 health books. One's called Turn Back Your Biological Clock. The other is called New Hope for Sciatica. They're both on Amazon under Duncan McCollum. New Hope for Sciatica goes into a lot more than just sciatic pain. It goes through some of the underlying causes that I've been touching on here, as well as Turn Back Your Biological Clock. You can get those, read them. If you like them, you know, let me know or leave a review up there. So exercise, of course, is important. Now, some people exercise so much that they're doing damage to their body because they're overdoing it, and or they're doing the type of exercise where they're tearing up their muscles and their joints because they get high out of doing it, but they're not really taking a look at what's happening at a muscular level or a cellular level. And perhaps it will be fine for them, but I see a lot of people hurt by doing the weekend warrior type of thing or over exercising and not knowing when to rest which muscle groups. So then, you know, we're talking about getting a really good case history, a good consultation with a patient. We've gone through the injury type, how long it's been, previous injuries to the same area, what brought it on this time, what was originally brought it on, what quality of pain are you having or symptoms you're having? Are they constant, frequent, intermediate, seldom? How severe from 1 to 10? We have slight, moderate, and severe. So we need to qualify how much this is affecting your life. And then what are you willing to do about it? You know, I always like to ask a patient when I hear their story, and it's so sad to hear them being in pain because I've been there too. And I say, listen, if I think that I can help you, and we don't accept all patients in our office, but if at the end of this consultation and evaluation, if I do think I can help you, I'm going to let you know. And I just want to tell you, I'll do everything in my power to help you get well. But I have a question for you. And that question is, will you do your part? Will you do what's necessary on your part to help us get the best results possible for you? Because if you're not willing to participate, you know, I may not be the right office for you because, you know, I want you to succeed. And if in order to do that, there's certain things that you're going to have to be willing to do. It might be giving up foods. It might be, you know, I mean, this is a hard one, but sometimes you're around people that are causing you too much stress. It might be exercises that you're doing that are hurting you. It could be so many things. But, you know, there are a lot of clues to what's going on with your health. So it's not only stopping at the physical anatomy, but what's going on with your digestive system. You know, how many bowel movements do you have a week? I used to ask a day and they'd say 1. When I ask a week, they go 5. You should have 2 to 3 a day. Okay, that would be normal bowel movements. Are they regular? Are they consistent? Are you having trouble with your any kind of bloating after you eat, especially within 10 minutes after you eat? Very likely something in your small intestine is causing problems. It's usually a bacteria or yeast called SIBO, small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, or CO, small intestinal yeast overgrowth. And these things, if you don't address them correctly, you won't get well because those things need to be addressed. Respiration, how is your respiration? Are you able to breathe? Do you have chronic asthmas? Are you on allergy medication? Have you had pneumonia? Have you had different things, anything to damage your lungs? Sometimes people are around gases that damage their lungs from work, especially the welders and the painters. Back in the day, they didn't wear any masks and, you know, ventilation systems. And this doesn't, just because you did it 30 years or 40 years ago, doesn't mean it's still affecting you now. What's going on with your ears and your eyes and your throat? Okay, any problem with your sinuses, chronic sinusitis, plugged ears, these drippy throats, sore throats, trouble talking, all of these can indicate problems or hidden infections, oftentimes in the mouth. Sometimes it's a wisdom tooth that got extracted, but there's still some kind of clinical infection in there. It could be a failed wisdom tooth or just an infected tooth that you took antibiotics for, but it never really got handled. How are your hormones? What's your endocrine system like? Do you even have any hormones left? Are you taking hormone disruptors? Hormones are not just estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, but it's thyroid hormone. It's the adrenaline, it's adrenal hormones, cortisol, all these different things, insulin. I think now they're saying almost 70% of the population have some kind of insulin issues. So it keeps, the number goes up and up and up. 50% of the children have blood sugar issues. And so that's an endocrine system problem. It's also it's a problem on a cellular level. And if you read either of my 2 books, New Hope for Sciatica or Turn Back Your Biological Clock, you'll get a clear understanding of what's going on at a cellular level, so you can determine what you want to do to fix it. What's going on neurologically? Now, we talked about neurological a little bit. Hold on a sec. I'm going to lose you potentially. We talked about neuroskeletal, spinal neurological problems that occur when you have accidents or injuries. And if it's at the spinal level and it hasn't been addressed, you're going to continue to have problems with that. So we have to address the neurological spinal thing. Perhaps you've had some brain injuries that we need to know about, concussions, played a lot of sports, you played soccer and hit the ball with your head. Maybe you wrestled in high school or boxed, various things. Maybe you've had some abuse that have affected your neuroendocrine system. These things we need to know. What's going on with your heart, cardiovascularly? Do you have high blood pressure? Are you on cholesterol medication? Is your liver working well enough that it's not able to keep your blood circulation correct? Do you have lymph drainage problems? Are you bloated? Are you swollen? Are your extremities puffy? These are all circulatory problems and detoxification problems having to do with the nervous system, with the detoxification system. It goes back to the liver and the heart and the lungs and the skin and the large intestine, kidneys. All of those things help detoxify your body. So if you're not able to get rid of the toxins, then you're also having trouble in that arena as well. So reproductive, are you able to bear children? Now, do you want to? I've had about 21 children born to my office that were never supposed to have children. Many of them gone through hormone therapy. We've told stories about that before, but it's really awesome that by getting the body working well, the mother could actually carry a baby to term and or even get pregnant. I talked about the urinary tract. You have chronic infections, bladder infections or stones or kidney issues, kidney stones. Those are all signs of toxicity. Musculoskeletal, we've talked about that a number of times. And then your skin. Do you have any kind of rashes on your skin? Any of those dermatitises or psoriasis? Those are all talking about something internal that is not working right. And that shows up on the skin. Your skin is one of the 5 different ways that your body detoxifies. And so the skin is the largest organ in your body. And so when you end up having problems like that, I gotta just decline this call. When you have problems with your skin, it's an internal problem. So you can take some medications to help with the rash, but if you don't get in there and figure out what's causing the problem and get it handled, it's usually your large intestine or small intestine, that is going to continue to plague. So getting the symptoms to go away is not really the best thing that you should do. You should try to figure out what's causing it in the first place. So this is what we look for in our office. We're going to touch on all this stuff. Different patients take us down different paths. But, if you haven't had all these questions asked of you, then perhaps, you want to get a different opinion from somebody else. We never charge for a consultation in my office. If I think I can help you, I'll tell you the next step. If I don't think I can, I'll let you know that. But again, I will ask you the question. I'll do everything that I can to try to help you get well, but are you going to do everything that you can do or everything that's necessary on your end to get yourself healthy? Because if not, then I'm probably not the right office for you. There are other people out there that could help you, I'm sure, reach some degree of comfort. And if that's what you're looking for, that's awesome. But I think that, what I'm really about, and the people in my office, we really want to help people get their golf game back, be able to walk, lift up their kids, be able to shop for themselves, cook, stand, walk, hike, ride a bicycle, lift their grandchildren, whatever it is, dream again. We want you to dream again, and then let your body take you where your mind wanders. So let your mind wander, let it be free, and then let us help you get your body to be able to follow your dreams. Because without a healthy body, your dreams are dampened, and our goal is to help you be as healthy as we can. So Dr. Duncan McCollum, McCollum Wellness Radio, please follow me on YouTube, Dr. Duncan McCollum. You can listen to these shows on not only on KSCO again under my channel, but you can go to Spotify or Apple Music and listen to McCollum Wellness Radio. You can get the URL or whatever it's called and send it to a friend. If they need to hear this information, send it on over to them. Let's see what we can do. If they live somewhere else, we'll find somebody for them. Or if they, have a nutritional problem, I could potentially help them remotely. So it's been great talking to you, Dr. Duncan McCollum. I'm going to leave you with this great message by Steve Funderburg and Lindsay. We'll talk to you soon.
We can be free. We can be free. We can rise above. We can be free.